Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this race for the Free Enterprise Highway to the Zeromus Zone League. We've got a bunch of great racers tonight. I am Swimmy Leone. I'm joined by my commentator, Penguinator. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great.
We have riversmccown. He's the person who organized this league, to which we're all grateful. I believe this is his first race in the tournament, right?
It is.
Yeah. Nightdew has had 3 matches already. Is that right?
2 or 3. I'm not
2.
sure. I think 2.
2. This is Nightdew's 3rd match then. Chocosura had won 2nd place, and Obdajr has finished a previous race with, it looks like a 3rd place. So everyone's looking to win, obviously.
And a bunch of excellent runners. Rivers, Nightdew definitely towards the top. Obda's had some very nice performances as well. I would say Choco's a bit of an underdog, but definitely anything could happen here.
My first race, Chocosura was in. He came in 2nd. I rewatched the VOD, and I was very impressed with his playing. I've watched Obdajr stream, and he's very good at taking really terrible teams to Zeromus. So that might come into play.
And Obda is an old school vanilla Final Fantasy IV runner.
That's
so
right.
He definitely can pull out lots of tricks.
Yeah, it's a good advantage going into Free Enterprise. Let's see what we have. All right, we have a Tella Sid start with a hook. That's not the worst start you could have, but it's not really what you want to see.
I actually like the characters quite a bit. Tella's nice to have early, just for some cure, some health, and the eggs that can just help you clear things faster.
Yeah,
and Sid is actually quite a strong fighter early on, especially if you can find a decent weapon for him somewhere.
Yeah, I'd say Sid is one of the top early game characters you can get. Tella, on these flags you can make up for him by finding exit items, but you might not find those, so it's very nice to have a sure source of exit. Rivers is going straight to the Antlion Cave, while everyone else is raiding Baron.
Yes, looks like Rivers has a lot of confidence with those starting characters, so he's diverging for his first key item in the Antlion Cave.
And that's warranted. I've found it's really common to find a Runex in the Antlion Cave. Let's see if he gets lucky.
The other runners are just looting Baron, grabbing the treasures that are lying around, and they'll probably check the shop as well, see if there's anything good.
And there
looks
it
like
is.
There's 3 good items actually.
Yeah.
Life, Hourglass, and Cure 2.
I have one big stack of every one of those.
So because we have that hook start, we may see some other runners go into Eblon Cave early and try to grab that character. And eventually some of them may try to dive through that cave and defeat the boss at the Rubicante spot. So that one can be pretty tough.
Yeah, typically when you see hook as the starting item on these flags on K2, you're not very likely to find the Magna Key in the Overworld, although it does happen. Probably it's a hook. Probably you have to go through Eblon Cave, and everything is kind of in preparation for that.
It looks like Rivers is getting ready to head into the Antlion boss fight.
Well,
I don't think he got any weapons. Sid's still using the wooden hammer, but he does have a karate gear, which will boost his damage a bit.
So it's Lugae. Lugae's very easy in this spot.
And only 1,000 health. That's split between the 2 Dr. Lugae and Balnab and the second part of the fight, so not much health to get through.
And both Balnab and the second Dr. Lugae are weak against Sid's hammer, so this is extremely easy.
Yeah, probably one of the easiest fights you could find here, actually, with this party.
Rivers is run buffering, but this spot is so slow it's not even necessary.
Looked like 1,400 on the second form with Sid's hammer.
Stardust Rod, that is going to be a big help in getting through some of the tough spots early.
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, Nightdew and Chocosura are checking out the Eblon Cave character and probably shop.
So I would guess they'll just go to the character, maybe check some of the chests, and then exit out with Tella. I can't imagine they'd feel confident enough to try to fight the boss yet. Probably want to do some more stuff in the overworld first.
Right, probably not even confident enough to fight the Staleman chest, so it looks like both of them have saved outside. They're checking the chest, and if they run the Staleman, then most likely they'll reset. But we'll see.
River's the first one to check Hobbs. There's an extra character on there, but turns out it was Edward, so he decided not to take him.
Yep, River's
Just exited out of there.
I would have done the same thing. Edward has his uses. I think he's maybe a little underrated because people just hate him so much. But if you have Sid, you don't really need him.
And fighting a boss for him, that could, I think it was Bahamut, probably not really necessary. Or actually Leviathan, I think.
Early game on these flags, you're pretty likely to be able to find a dancing dagger in an overworld shop. And so Edward can carry you through the game, but he already has Sid and the Stardust Rod, so he has everything he needs to carry him through the early game. We have Rivers immediately nopes out.
But River's not quite able to do that one without having picked up really anything just yet. We'll probably need at least some Starveils to handle that, to reflect the opening Mega Nuke.
Yeah, so these flags, Wyvern does open with Mega Nuke. At almost any boss spot in the game, it will be instant death for the party.
And Starveils should be available somewhere in a shop. Just one of the item shops somewhere. We don't know where because, of course, it's all randomized.
Right. Obdajr picks up that Stardust Rod. Nightdew and Chocosura are about to get Rydia. And our boss blocking the path to the underworld is either the Fabul Gauntlet or Water Hag.
So Rydia's not going to be that great early on, so probably not much advantage from the runners who opted to pick her up early. But she can become quite useful later when she learns more spells or if they find summons. If
you find a Dragon Whip and Heroine Robe, which is totally available in the chests on these flags, then she can be very valuable, but probably not going to happen for most people.
Looks like Rivers is going town to town, shopping probably mostly for the Starveils to deal with that Wyvern.
Right. So that Water Hag or Fabul Gauntlet is actually really huge, having that knowledge for Nightdew and Chocosura.
Either one of those isn't too hard to get through. The Fabul Gauntlet does, but it's not the hardest of fights.
Yeah, it just doesn't hit that hard. Especially if either of them can find some coffins in a shop, they can make it through a few of those tougher battles.
So I saw Obda also reset upon seeing Edward on top of Mount Hobbs. Looks like he's now into the Fabul fight, which we know is Wyvern. I'm not sure if he has the Starveils. Looks like he's going to take a wipe there as well.
Yeah.
So that could be the gate for a while for most of these runners trying to get past that Wyvern.
Of course, Wyvern can't be blocking access to the Underworld, but we already have Underworld access. Wyvern absolutely could be blocking a Magma Key, although it's not very likely.
If someone gets that, that could be a huge leg up over runners who have to go through the Eblon Cave with the hook. So Nightdew found the Staleman fight in the chest, so he's going to take that fight. I'll get him some experience and net him some equipment that's usually pretty good.
Right. He must have had a moon veil. I didn't actually quite catch, but I'm assuming he had a moon veil.
Yeah, you popped the moon veil on Sid, and that negates the physical attacks, so Sid's invincible right now.
And the trap chests, so on these flags, most treasure chests can contain terrible to pretty good items. Trap chests can contain any of the best items. This could be a game changer, potentially.
So Chocosura has opted to actually try to get Edward fighting that Leviathan. With this party, he should be able to get through this fight. It's not terribly hard at that spot. And Obda is in the Baron Inn. The first fight was a moon boss. Didn't catch who it was. And the character there is Palom, so if he manages to win the Octomom fight, then he'll end up with potential key item as well as Palom, who's a pretty strong character.
Right. Palom, if you can get him Quake before you dive the underground, then you can breeze through some of those fights potentially.
Looks like Obda is not quite ready for that Octomom. He's still on just 2 characters, so it's a little bit difficult. I'm not sure if he's found any weapons yet.
Black shirt, which is almost completely worthless, not quite.
The chocosura is going to Dwarf Castle. No Earth Crystal yet, so that's just to loot the treasury. You can't do the full Earth Crystal treasury, but just the right staircase that has the 8 chests.
And there was a rune axe waiting in that one pot, which is pretty nice.
And that'll give Sid a lot more damage. It's actually his arguably best weapon.
Yes, it's a high attack, high variance weapon. It has a rather low hit rate, but if you put him in the center, you can compensate for that. Because the center slot gets an accuracy bonus.
River's taking on the Ogopogo at the first boss of Baron Inn, and now he's on to Octomom, so we'll see if he can get through that one and be rewarded.
Yeah, that's a good spot to find Ogopogo. Ogopogo is one of the hardest bosses in the game. And if you can take it out in one hit in an easy spot, that's really nice.
Yeah, the Octomom there looks to be quite tough. It's hitting very fast and quite hard, even from the back row, I think. It was doing several hundred damage. So Rivers probably wants some more equipment or maybe another character before he takes that on.
Yeah, the Yang spot in the Baron Inn, it's probably not that well known because Yang's script is broken. He is supposed to attack, kick. In the US version, he only kicks, which is not very strong, but his attack is actually very strong. And so Octomam is a physical boss, and that spot is pretty dangerous.
So Obda's opted to head up to Mount Ordeals, just not wanting to deal with those tough bosses at the other locations. And we found Baigan as the first boss there, which there are 3 bosses to get through.
Yeah.
The Stardust Rod is going to come in handy here, bypassing the wall and also clearing out the arms. Yeah. So not too hard with that Stardust Rod.
Very, very nice find there.
The next fight, the Mylon Z spot, can be a pretty difficult fight depending on who it is, because it is a guaranteed back attack. So we'll see that in a second.
The Moon Boss. The Lunars. That's, the Stardust Rod will definitely help here.
Definitely ways to deal with this fight.
And Obda does have some attack items to help out, which is nice. So the D-Lunars will counter the fight command by casting Wall on themselves and then bouncing Virus off of themselves. And then your party's going to die because it's very strong. So that option is off of the table for Obda.
Looks like got through without too much trouble. A few AoE damage items as well as a Stardust Rod. Just got through them without too much difficulty. And now we'll see a key item potentially at the shrine here. The bonus, Tele will unlock all his spells, which makes him a lot more useful than he was to start with.
Yeah, significantly.
Checking back in with nightdew and chocosura. They just cleared out Antlion, so they're caught up with the Stardust Rod. And River's going down to get the character at Eblon Cave.
And then after he sees what the boss is, we get to see whether he decides to keep going.
So Obda's reward at Ordeals was the power robe, is that right?
That's right. It's not a key item. It doesn't help with progression at all, but it does make Sid quite a bit stronger.
I absolutely agree. That's a great item to find. Plus 15 strength, I believe.
Yes.
So, probably going to slap that on Sid, and he'll hit quite a bit harder.
Ella just dodged a Mega Nuke on Night2's screen.
Not sure if you can get through it, though. You still have to kill it.
Right. So after the opening Mega Nuke, Wyvern casts a ball on himself, and then bounces nukes off it. You can only kill your party members one at a time, but depending on Wyvern's speed, that can be more than enough. If Wyvern is slow, however, all you have to do is revive whoever it kills, keep going.
Ooh, and the nuke on Tella, that kind of hurts, because Tella was using that Stardust Rod, which is doing 700 per cast. Sid might be able to finish it. There we go. So Night2 is the first one to clear Babel Castle. So we'll get a potential key item from the king.
Looks like Rivers is ready to try again. Power key.
So it's not going to help just yet, but once the runners get to the underground, that Tower of Babel to get the 2 key items there.
Yeah, Tower key is a nice find early. It doesn't help with progression in the overworld in the slightest, but no one likes to double dip dungeons. A lot of people try to avoid going into the tower without the tower key. Sometimes the tower key is at the top of the tower, so it ends up backfiring. So it's kind of nice to see it early and get that. You don't have to worry about that situation.
So Rivers and Chocosura both came back to that Wyvern fight with Star Veils, so they reflected the opening Mega Nuke. They should be able to get through without too much trouble. And on Obda's side, I'd like to note that he did find Sirens in a shop somewhere, so that gives an option for leveling up. Sirens summon an enemy encounter, specifically the toughest counter in that area. There's several spots that are pretty good for grinding up experience quickly with those Sirens.
Right, and Obda is going for Palom now, and Palom is the best person to grind on the Overworld.
And what makes him so great for grinding?
Level 23 Quake. Is if you played vanilla, you might not know this because he uses it before he ever gets great. But Palom is the best black mage by far. He learns Virus and Quake very early, extremely powerful spells that do not do elemental damage. Quake pierces wall, and he has much more wisdom naturally than Rydia does. So unless you find a tiara for Rydia, he's just by default much stronger.
So Obda's back to fight that Octomon. With Tella's spells, he has a better shot. He used a Lit 2 for over 1,000 damage. Octomon, of course, weak to lightning. And it's still pretty difficult. We see him taking wipe there. I think if he tries again, he'll be able to get it.
Let's see what he decides to do.
Looks like that power robe is still sitting in his inventory. Might be opting for defense on Sid instead. Oh, he is putting the power robe on. So if he didn't have that before, maybe this will help a bit.
Right, that's a guaranteed multiplier and a probable second multiplier. So for those who don't know the way attack multipliers work, you get a multiplier for every 8 strength and every 16 agility points. So a power robe adds 15 strength, that's a guaranteed 1 multiplier. You only need 1 more to get a second, so it's a fantastic item. Those multipliers are what really cause the big damage.
Actually a pretty nasty fight, having the Ogopogo first. It's not hard to get through since the health is low, but the opening big wave takes away half your health. So you either have to take a turn to cure up, or you're going to the next fight already at half.
Which is probably not survivable.
So Ob opted to heal up this time, so probably have a better shot with healed up characters going into Octomom. It's like nightdew also taking on Octomom and still had a Moon Veil, so that'll make one of his characters invulnerable because Octomom is only physical. So he'll get through eventually.
Yeah, that'll help quite a bit.
Interesting that the Moon Veil's on Rudia. I think she's the lowest damage of all of his characters.
Right, and there's no experience for this fight either, so there's not much reason to keep her alive.
Tell having all his spells, I think a Lit 3 would be enough to completely one-shot Octomom, but the cast time is kind of long on there, and pretty risky to try to get that off here, with Tell also being the healer. So just Berserking Sid, and Sid will quickly kill Octomom while Berserked.
Yeah, so nightdew is through. Obda Jr. is through as well. That power roll did cause some high attack rolls there.
Ooh, and we get the Darkness Crystal.
Oh, that is an absolute game changer.
So the runners now have the option to make a very early moon play with that Darkness Crystal, or they can follow that hook into Eblon Cave and try to get to the underground. Either way, they'll be potentially fighting some very tough bosses.
The Darkness Crystal also opens up some really good grind spots. So there's a trap chest in the Lunar Path with 4, we call them hair dryers, which is worth, I think, over 30k experience if you use the life glitch. And then there are just various grinds on various floors you can get to with sirens that you should be able to beat at these levels if you use the hourglasses.
Of course, the Darkness also gives access to the Giant of Babel, where you have the D-Machine grind fight as an option. And it is potentially doable now. They do have Tella for a week.
It's true. It wouldn't be very easy, but it is doable. So at this point, yeah, we might see some people might want to play it a little safer and go hook. Hook now. Some people might want to shoot straight for the moon, see if they can get some levels. Maybe if there are some easy bosses on the moon that you can beat with a weak party.
Looks like nightdew is at least unlocking the lunar whale, so could be headed to the moon.
The junior seems to be taking the hovercraft.
But stopping at Ordeals first, I guess he wants to grind some levels for his Palom first. Right. The Lilith fight here is very good for experience. So it just has to walk up to the summit and use those sirens and get the Lilith X2 fight on command.
Yeah, so the Liliths are pretty easy to kill. They count as undead, so you can just throw Cure 2 potions on them, Fire Magic, or just hit them with Sid. Obda will get 5,500 experience per battle as a reward. Take a little bit of time to grind Paloma. There are some riskier fights on the moon that would give much more experience in the same amount of time, but they're pretty fast and you can probably kill the party instantly. So just kind of playing it safe.
And with Choco through the Baron Inn fights, we now have all of our runners have both the Hook and Darkness Crystal, so they all have this dilemma in front of them of which of many options to pursue.
And Moonshop has coffins, which are extraordinarily helpful on these flags.
Looks like Rivers has also opted to get the whale and head to the moon.
Of course, people might go up there, just check the shop, get the character, and return.
Or even grind on the moon and then come back down and do the hook.
Right. It opens the game up quite a bit. I think attempting a grind would be a pretty good play.
Now we see, what will Choco pick? Looks like Chocosura also getting the Lunar Whale. So only Obda looks to be eyeing that hovercraft for the hook in Eblon Cave.
Mm-hmm. And Obda might be thinking, you know, everyone else is going to go to the moon. Maybe they'll all get stuck and I can get ahead here.
Looks like the moon character was Rosa.
That is definitely what you want to see.
Mm-hmm. Kind of completes the roster with a white mage. Very mage-heavy party right now. 4 mages for some of the runners. So we could see some mage strats as we go forward, leveling up to get those nukes and whites.
Nighttew's going straight back to the planet here.
So maybe Nightdew is just looking for the shop and the character, and might end up heading underground.
Obda had a back attack with the Lilith and ran into a little bit of trouble. So that is one problem with grinding anywhere except on trapped chests where back attack is impossible, is that back attacks and surprise attacks are determined by your party's, I think it's average level?
I'm not actually sure on that one.
Your party's level is definitely a factor. So the lower level you are, the more likely you are to run into one. So you might be pretty likely to run into one with those Liliths. And Tella and Palom are both pretty squishy. Nightdew is going up Ordeals as Obda descends.
I don't believe, or Nightdew rather, has actually cleared out the Ordeals bosses yet, so I assume that's what he's headed for. And that will power up his Tella, grant him his spells. Doing some grinding while he's here too.
Alright, we have our first hook dive.
Obda getting ready to head down. Looks like he's gearing up before he heads in, so he's probably going to check those chests, try to find those trap chests for some experience and maybe some nice items.
Right, if he manages to life potion the enemies in the 2 trap chests on the way to Rubicante spot, then he can he could probably get Quake, because Palom's at level 20 right now. So I think it's pretty wise to leave the mountain early for that reason.
So Rivers has also come back from the moon, and now he's headed up Mount Ordeals as well, just on the heels of Nightdew. I believe he also still has the fight tier to clear.
Yeah, Nightdew is grinding as well. It's not a bad move. Palom with Quake can make everything ahead trivial.
So Obda actually looks to not have the tower key. I think that was Babel, so he may have skipped that one. So he may get underground first, but he might end up not hitting the tower as soon as some of the other players might. So we'll see how that one plays out.
Yeah, of course it could be totally unimportant. It could be to his benefit.
And Rivers following the trend, grinding up the Palom on the Lilith on Mount Ordeals. A little concern for Obda heading into the fights in the Tower of Babel, because he's still characters. He will pick up Kid Rydia on his way, but no Rosa yet, so he might have some trouble. Those bosses are no pushovers.
No, not at all. The King and Queen Eblin spot, you would never know from playing vanilla because they only cast magic. It has extremely high attack power. Any physical boss physical only boss that's in that spot will probably kill every one of these characters in one hit currently. And don't quite know what Rubicante is. So Rubicante could either be a simple hit it 3 times and you win battle, or a very tedious, drawn out gauntlet with the Babel.
So chocosura also grinding on Mount Ordeals. Looks like Rivers is the only one right now who's using that Stardust Rod to grind, so he's actually a little more efficient than the other runners. So he might surpass them just from that faster grinding.
I wonder
Also
if other
depends.
people are used to using Cure 2s and such from their own practice.
Mm-hmm. So nightdew looks like he's grinded enough, and Rivers deciding that just as well. So about the same time heading into the Baigan fight. Shouldn't be too hard. Stardust Rod and maybe Quake are both very effective here.
Yeah, so that Quake is going to win it instantly for nightdew. And that's why you grind to get Quake.
Mm-hmm. So Rivers didn't quite get to Quake, so just using Virus a little bit slower, but he shouldn't have too much trouble either.
Yeah, I think River's strategy is get Virus. You'll get Quake soon enough with just a couple more boss battles. Virus is good enough for most battles. We'll see if he regrets that decision when we hit these D-Lunars. But it is interesting that there are immediately 2 bosses that cast Wall on themselves.
So Obda is now on the King and Queen fight. It turned out to be Antlion on this seed.
It is indeed a purely physical boss. Or, not purely, but mostly.
Ouch, that's hitting really fast and really hard.
And as predicted, everyone in one hit except for Sid.
Obda actually did not take any fight since getting Rydia. He did not find the trap chest in the tower. So his Rydia is still level 1, and his other characters are not all that leveled either.
Mm-hmm. He might be backtracking to find that chest, or he might be deciding to leave.
So like he wants to leave. I think you can warp out, but maybe he doesn't know that. I think once you get to the cave, though, you can exit, but you can't exit from here.
Right.
Oh, he's... Looked like he was waffling on whether to grab that chest. I think he passed an earlier one, though.
Looks like we're getting a raid from El Magus. Or is it Magus? I don't know how he prefers to pronounce it. In any case, thank you.
I think it's Magus. Obda heading back up, but now back down. He's indecisive here. Next. Yeah, the Antlion definitely looked very tough. Yeah, he's going to exit out now, so...
Yeah.
To grab the character at least? Maybe go back and do Babel?
Or check the moon. I think that's the right call, that Antlion fight. There's no sense banging your head against the wall right now.
With walking all the way up and not getting anything from it, because hitting that Antlion, he's kind of lost any sort of lead he had. And now the other runners are going to catch up to where he is.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for him. He might see what he can do on the moon. I think the reason nobody else attempted any of the fights on the moon is because these characters are too slow at this point. Probably any enemies or bosses you find up there will get too many turns off before you can do even get an hourglass out.
So Chocosura clearing the bosses on Ordeals, just a little bit behind nightdew and Rivers. Nightdew is about 1 room, so a few seconds ahead of Rivers at the moment.
Interestingly, with that early darkness crystal, this seed is a little more open than some, but we're still seeing a pretty linear path for most people.
Lots of options, but very difficult options. So
Yeah, exactly.
everyone's still trying to gear up, level a bit to try to be able to take on some of these tough bosses.
Rivers is checking the Octagon spot, probably hoping to see Miss Dragon. It's King and Queen Evelyn. It's good to know that they're not on the moon, so you don't get that nice, easy fight. It is a shame that it's wasted on the spot.
You said he's probably looking for Miss Dragon. What's so good about finding the Miss Dragon?
Yeah, on these flags, we have the no free lunch flag on, and if that flag were not on, we would be able to get a key item from Edward at Toroya immediately as the game starts. With the no free lunch flag on, that item is replaced with the Miss Dragon hunt. If you beat the Miss Dragon, not the Miss Dragon spot, the actual Miss Dragon, Iridia's mother in the town of Miss, you get your key item there. I think troll seeds, what most people consider troll seeds in this game, the majority of them include Miss Dragon.
I'm a bit surprised that Rivers opted to actually take that King and Queen fight at the Octomom spot. You don't really get anything from it, not a whole lot of experience. It's not a difficult boss, but it seems not the optimal way to level up his character at this point. And Obda is doing some grinding on, as you said, the hair dryers on the moon.
Right.
And nightdew is going all the way down, probably going to grind on some of the lunar dragons, and maybe then take on some of the bosses on the moon.
Yeah, slightly more daring play for both of them, and really interesting play. So the hourglasses froze the hair dryers, cast stop. Now Obda needs to kill them before that stop wears off.
And nightdew is doing something similar. Hourglass is on the warlocks, and you can stone the warlocks if he has that. I think at least Tella will have that.
Right.
So not too hard to get through these. I believe the warlocks are worth a bit more than those hair dryers.
Right. The advantage of the hair dryers is that it's a trap chest, and so for beating them might be very good.
Two runners on the right side, River and Choco, both in Edlon Cave now. I think this is River's first time here, so he'll pick up his fifth character, Iridia.
Alright, 53k experience for Obda.
Oh, I guess he was already here. I missed that earlier. But River's not checking anything right now, because he feels like he can take on whatever the game throws at him. He might be in for a surprise.
Does he have any moon veils?
He probably has some moon veils. I know the other runners picked them up in Eblon Cave, I think. I'm not sure if Rivers looted them. So he could, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. For those who don't know, moon veils cast Reflect on whoever uses it, but it also casts a status effect called Barrier, which makes you immune to ordinary physical attacks. A decent amount of time. And that's really all that's needed to get past the antlion spot here.
The nightdew has upgraded to the gold dragon fights.
This is where the real money is.
Yeah, they're worth more experience, but they're a bit harder to kill. They're not vulnerable to stone or things like that, but you can still stop them, and you can also weak them with Tella. And weak puts them at single-digit HP, so then they're really easy to finish off at that point.
Yes. So if you also do the life glitch on more ones you kill, you just get a boatload of experience. So I think Nightdew's made a very smart play here.
Alright, River's taking on the antlion. We'll see how he does here. He does have Tella, Iridia, and Palom all able to use magic, which will bypass the antlion's counters. but looks like didn't quite have it there. Had to reset. We'll see if he wants to grind some more or try something else. Maybe just reorder his party and try again.
Right, so he's trying to slow Antline down by putting a slow character in the center. I missed it. What was the reward for the hairdryer chest?
I did not catch that either.
We'll see if anyone in chat knows.
So Obda is also headed down in the moon. So we'll see if he wants to grind more or fight some bosses. chocosura has found that Mad Ogre trap chest. I believe he's the first one to find that. That's a decent experience boost, and with the hourglasses, they're not too hard to take care of. They are very resistant to magic, so it's a little bit harder to kill them.
Yeah, when you have an all-mage party like this, pretty much Sid has to do all.
River is just trying to out-damage the Ant Lion. We could see some blinks. Looks like Callum may have the Moonveil on because he's not taking damage. So,
alright,
River Ant Lion.
Ant Lion.
So he's the first one past that.
Let's find out what this blue-robed mystery boss is.
Imagine we'll see a save before taking that on. With the Ant Lion,
Great for it.
Got through, but not easily. Ooh, he's feeling confident. So because there are, what, 6 or 7 fights?
I think it's 6.
The high HP of Rubricante is split up quite a bit, and then of course each one has multiple enemies. Yeah, and you can stop them with the hourglasses, although don't necessarily want to, because if you stop the general, then you have to actually kill it instead of letting it retreat.
There are several ways to do this. It's really not a bad fight to find here. It's tedious, but Medusa arrows will help you through. Tala can use stone, fatal, coffins. These are all normal enemies. None of them have the boss bit, so they're not immune to several status effects.
I think Rivers doesn't quite have Quake, which would help out a bit here, being that most of these fights are multiple enemies. So he's lifing some of these to try to get extra experience. Probably trying to just get that Quake for the rest of the fights. nightdew has found the Magus sisters somewhere on the moon, and looks like he's getting through without too much difficulty. Rune Axe on Sid, I think. Doing a lot of work there with that racial bonus against mages, and also Quake works quite well against them.
Yeah, Quake is a blessing against that boss fight. Earth Crystal Spoon. nightdew has a progression item that does not require diving through Cave Evelyn.
So nightdew could go back and try that Earth Crystal, but I would guess, being that he's already here near these other boss spots, he'll fight them as well, see what they give him.
Yeah, I mean, if you can beat him and they have something good, then you're ahead. If you can't beat him, you know, you've made your gamble on the moon, you might as well commit, right?
And beating that first boss gives a lot of experience, so it'll be a lot easier now going forward. Well, I guess it depends what the bosses end up being.
Bahamut. So nightdew has a stack of 16. Bahamut is not going to be a problem.
Just popping those Star Veils, and Mega Nuke or Mega Flare gets reflected, and completely safe.
And that is Bahamut's only move. So just let Bahamut kill itself here. Nice and easy. Oak is doing the King Ryu grind, getting that 90k experience.
So chocosura also made it past Ant Lion. They're just a little bit behind Rivers. Rivers getting through the Fabul Gauntlet without too much trouble. Still about halfway through, just lots of enemies to get through.
chocosura is doing that safety save. So when he sees that it is the Fabul Gauntlet, he's probably happy he did that.
So soon we'll see if the underground play or the moon play turns out to get better rewards. The moon play does mean that nightdew and obda are already quite a bit higher level, so they won't have to do as much grinding later. The underground might give better items. Really don't know yet. We'll have to see.
Early darkness crystal is kind of the curse of these flags, and the thing that makes them so interesting. It's a very difficult call of whether to try out the moon early. There are 6 potential key items up there. They're all blocked by very difficult boss spots.
And even once you're there, there's questions of what order to do the fights in, and do you do all of them, or do you find some progression items and head back to use those?
Yeah, Nightdew's Star Veils actually wore off before that last Mega Nuke, so unfortunately took a party wipe.
Alright, Rivers is through that Fabul Gauntlet fight and headed on down to the underground proper.
Yeah, so the underground opens an immediate free key item at the Land of Summon Monsters. Rivers has the tower key, so that's 2 potential key items from the Tower of Babel, 1 from Dwarf Castle, and 2 from the bosses in Land of Summon Monsters, and 1 from Talking to Young. So Rivers has just opened up a whole lot of options. Let's see what he chooses.
I would expect he's headed for the tower soon. He might grab the free items first, just because they're pretty quick checks.
And he is already right at the tower.
Looks like he's headed down probably to the Land of Summon Monsters. Yep. So he'll check the chest there, and there are a couple boss fights there. They can be quite difficult, but if they happen to be some of the easier bosses, you'll probably fight them.
Right. The Leviathan spot is maybe one of the hardest boss spots in the game. It's harder than several of the moon bosses.
And I certainly found that out in my race earlier today. And lots of chests down here to loot as well for Rivers, so could find some good equipment.
Magma key, so that's utterly useless.
So now we do know that the runners on the moon, unless the crystal is up there, they will still have to go through that Eblon cave with the hook.
Yeah, that's right. But it's not going to be a problem for them at all. Nightdew has made it through Bahamut. Unfortunately, Sid did not make it through.
Not too terrible at this point. Sid's not the most important character.
So,
the reward for clearing Bahamut was Bahamut Summon.
That's a very good reward when you have Rydia. So the bosses there at the Land of Summon Monsters library are Odin and Kanyatso. Thankfully, Kanyatso is in the Asura spot, Leviathan spot. But those are still very difficult bosses to be in those spots.
So now with that Bahamut in tow, Rydia can do a whole lot of damage with that summon. And so Nightdew probably going to proceed to clear out the rest of the lunar subterrane.
Yeah, I'd say that's the best move from here.
So chocosura finishing up the Fabul Gauntlet, just a few minutes behind Rivers. And now Rivers going to Tamra, just doing some looting and probably checking the shops. Because we are on the S2 flag, the shops down here are a bit better than the shops in the Overworld. Any gated shop is weighted to be a bit better under the randomization on the S2 flag.
Right. Looks like there was a tiara for sale for Rydia. Gives her a +10 boost to wisdom, also pretty good defense.
And that's what Rivers was going for. He picked up the tiara and 1 or 2 black robes, also going to help out on his defense on Palom and Rydia.
Yeah, so the black robes are that they do provide some defense. I'd always rather have one than a leather armor, but they boost your willpower, which is your white magic stat, and only black mages can equip it. So Tella is the only person who can reap the benefit of that. Oh, I guess Fusoya can. But for Palom, it's not nearly as good as finding the Sorcerer Robe or Stardust Rod or anything like that.
I think nightdew went down to the last spot but might have reset.
Yeah, Evil Wall was there. Evil Wall was hard.
Yeah, so I guess he didn't want to try that one, so now he's headed back to, I think this is the vanilla wyvern spot.
That's right, and this is probably the easiest of the boss spots in the subterranean, especially if you find a magic-based boss here. Mega Nuke, as we all know, totally wrecks your party in this game. Again, it's 250 spell, 255. Oh gosh, Paladin is here. So that is not a magical boss. So the reason Mega Nuke doesn't do that much damage to your party in the vanilla game is because the Wyvern spot has very low magic power. But it has very high attack power, so seeing this Paladin here is very unfortunate.
On Riverside, he's headed into Dwarf Castle. The first boss there is the CPU. Shouldn't be too hard. CPU can be pretty nasty, but as long as he leaves one of the orbs up, then CPU won't start the Globe 199 yet.
Right, so CPU only does percentage of health base damage, so it's never extremely dangerous. Because the CPU itself is in the back row, it can be very difficult to do damage to it. River's just trying a strategy we've seen a few people recently, but it did not work. If you cast Float and reflect it off one of your characters, there is a 50-50 chance it will float the attacker, and if it does, then you're free to cast Quake to kill the CPU without killing the attacker. But unfortunately, it bounced and hit the CPU instead.
So River's actually giving up on that fight for now. So he's going to Sylph Caves. No pan yet, so he just talked to Yang, and then he can get an item from Sheila. Chocosura actually headed to the Tower of Babel first. So because we have the tower key, we get 2 potential items. One from the Dr. Lugue fight at the top, and another from doing the tower fight at the Dark Imp spot.
Speaking of the Dr. Lugue fight at the top, it's Golbez.
And Golbez is one of the meanest bosses. But here, I believe it won't be too bad. The magic stat is not as high, I think.
Yeah, Dr. Lugue's magic stat is pretty low. If you're gonna see Golbez, yeah, this isn't the worst spot to see him. The HP of this spot is pretty high, because it combines vanilla, Balna, and second Lugue fight all together. So it can take a while to take him down, but his magic stat's just not that much.
So nightdew noped out of that Pale Dim fight and went back to the first boss in the Lunar Subterranean. This one's probably not too hard.
Yeah, that's a fantastic find. Mylan, once all the gas are dead, will only attack and cast lightning. The attack might hurt, but lightning will just doesn't. That spell does not have the spell.
And nightdew has defeated the Mylan, and we'll see if he gets any nice key items.
That's a pretty nice item. There's an adamant armor.
So, clearing out most of the Lunar Subterranean, I guess everything he probably feels comfortable clearing, and only progression item is the Earth Crystal. You imagine you want more than just one item from doing all that.
He might be able to take on either the evil wall or the...
Looks like nightdew wants to fight those bosses again. Can't blame him there either.
Yeah, you could also try the Bahamut summon spot. Yeah, it's pretty hard to decide what to do here.
I think Obda also had to reset out of the Paledem and is taking on Mylon now. On Choco's side, just got through Golbez's dialogue and popped up some Star Veils. So Golbez can't actually do any damage while those Star Veils are up. All his spells get bounced back.
Ooh, so the reward for beating CPU is Kane. And the next boss behind the CPU is this dragon.
Rivers did not actually keep Kane. I'm not sure if anyone's found any weapons for Kane, but being that other characters already leveled, probably not the best option. Sid's alright as a fighter, and I guess Rivers wants to stick with the mage party. Can't blame him there for sure.
Yeah, I'm just guessing, but I would guess that he's aiming for mage strats on Zeromus. And Sid is the only one you need. You need a high HP.
We get that ghosty hand, spooky.
Yeah, so the hand after that cutscene takes on the color palette of whatever boss you just fought. Yes, sorry about my dogs, chat. Try to mute it whenever that happened. But I was mid-sentence.
Alright, and Rivers gets the lightsaber as a reward for there. Not the best item, a decent weapon for Cecil, but not enough to make you actually want him at this point.
Right.
And we haven't actually seen Cecil yet. So Rivers headed back to the Overworld, going to cash in on that Mist Dragon by talking to Rydia's mom at Mist. And I think he still has the item from Sheila as well to cash in on.
Yeah, so two items, don't have to fight any more bosses to get. You definitely want to go for those ASAP.
Oh!
Oh! Okay.
So Rivers nabbed the crystal.
This is in go mode.
And with Darkness Crystal, he is in go mode.
That is... Oh, that's very interesting. So now we know that nightdew is not going to be finding or an item that leads to the crystal up. Quite unfortunate for our people who chose to go to the... but they will be way ahead in levels. And so hopefully once they're done clearing out the moon, they're gonna maybe go straight for the free items like Dwarf Castle. Let's see what happens. Obda is trying to take on Bahamut's spot.
So nightdew did finish that Paladin fight and was rewarded with an Avenger, which is a very nice sword, but no Kane or Cecil just yet, and it's probably going to be too little at this point to make much of a difference. Chocosura did finish the Tower of Babel. I didn't see the Luge item. The item from the Imps looked to be the Pinktail. So you can cash that in for another Adamant, which will help out a bit. Adamant, of course, a very nice piece of armor. So Rivers, he's definitely well ahead of the others now. He's just going to head down the moon, do some grinding on his way down, probably on those golden dragons, and then get his mages to learn their best spells, Nuke and White, and then head on down and take on Zeromus.
Yes, and I was almost certainly planning to do Reflect strats.
Obda has found Kainazo, or rather the Four Fiends fight, sorry. It's, so now onto Valis, so at Bahamut. So it looks like it's not actually too hard for him with this party, just using the elemental weaknesses and Bahamut. So see if he gets anything here, which, if it's a key item, will actually probably lead him astray, knowing that the crystal is behind the Mist Dragon.
Right. At this point now we know where the crystal is, you kind of hope that everything is just a dead-end item like the adamant, which will lead them closer to the path to the crystal.
It looks like it turned out this seed, the moon, kind of was not the right gamble. Runners going to the moon punished a bit, being that the crystal was completely separate, didn't need to touch the moon at all. It's always a tough play, deciding between moon or underground.
It is. I think I would have gone moon, personally. The experience is just too tempting. So, I feel you, nightdew and Junior.
Oh, and Choco picked up the pan somewhere. Maybe that was the Lugia item. And then the Sylphs gave the Baron key when he smacked Yang with that pan. So Choco could be led down quite the rabbit hole if he follows that Baron key next. Still has the items to get from Sheila as well. Going to stop by Land of Summon Monsters, get the item here as well. Which I believe was an adamant armor, so he'll have 2 adamants now.
It's pretty nice.
So we see River has made it down to those gold dragons. Just stopping them and casting Weep with Tella, so they're pretty easy to kill, and then can pop life on them when they die for double experience.
Oh, just chasing that Earth Crystal. I mean, he's already made the moon play. Probably that's the only progression item he found up there, so I'm committing to that move.
Definitely the right call, I think. You gotta capitalize on what advantages you potentially have. So nightdew did kill the evil wall. Looks like having some stream issues on nightdew's end, so I'm not sure what that was.
Yeah, not sure what the rule was.
Alright, so nightdew also headed over to Bahamut. So he's gonna be chasing around the moon for a little bit longer.
But at least it's not, you know, the Luca key or something like that.
Quite a bit behind now, it's just following the wrong leads.
Looks like we finally found that water hack fight.
That's at Tower of Zot, I believe.
Yep.
I think at this point, it's pretty much River's race for first. The other runners, still kind of a toss-up. We'll see who ends up getting back on track. They're all kind of following the wrong paths at the moment.
Chocosura is very close to Dwarf Castle.
Chocosura does have the advantage of having 2 adamant armors, which the other runners may not run into. At the moment, Ob is the only one added to Tower of Zot, so if he gets good characters there, that could give him an advantage.
At least he seems still as one of the characters.
And Choco is now on to Dwarf Castle, so he should be onto the crystal shortly.
Right. Obda has found Fusoya. Be better, Tella.
Imagine he'll take Fusoya at least, but looks like also dropping Palom.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, that's a choice I had questioned, but it's definitely a viable option.
Maybe he's just thinking that at this point he's beaten the hardest of the bosses that he would take before.
I'm not surprised keeping Tella though. I think Palom does pretty much everything you want Tella to do, but better.
Yeah, not sure. That's worth asking him about later.
Rudy is keeping because he has Bahamut, so it's very understandable.
Yes. Muppets in chat pointing out that it's probably anchor, agility anchor related. That could definitely be the case. And I could see not taking Cecil for that reason. But
I think Obda's only found a lightsaber for Cecil, which again is not the best. I see some floating characters on Chocosura's side. Guessing he was trying the float strats that we were talking about earlier, trying to float the attacker and then able to cast Quake. But I don't think the float hit the right target because he's not casting Quake now. But he should be able to kill the CPU just with Rosa, Sid, and Griddia fighting.
yeah, might take a little while. Is there an opportunity to get the back row on Sid? That would help.
Probably not. Only 360 per hit. That's
Yeah.
a little low for this point. Didn't catch what Obda got from the Tower of Zot. But he is headed down to the Eblon Cave and finally going to the underground.
Yeah, of course he's going to just blaze right through this.
He's much higher level than Rivers was. So he should have very little difficulty with the fights now. Still takes a little bit of time to get through the Fabul Gauntlet, especially with no Palom. Oh, I guess Fusoya could probably Quake instead.
Chad is saying the pass was at Zot. So,
Pass
not
from
a
Zot.
complete waste.
So that'll save him time because he will be able to warp directly to Zeromus from Toroya with the pass rather than walking through the whole moon with the darkness crystal. So
Yeah,
the race.
that's a long walk.
So that
you can take advantage of it like Rivers is doing.
So nightdew also making the play on the Tower of Zot, naturally since he got the Earth Crystal from the moon as well. So they'll both have the pass, so that might let them catch up to Chocosura, who just finished the Mist Dragon, so will be in go mode shortly, picking up the crystal from Rudia's mother.
Yeah, unless Chocosura tries to do too much more in the underground, but then he'll have the crystal shortly.
Gotta imagine once you fight the Mist Dragon, and you're already at your airship, you might as well just fly up and check the item. Literally a few seconds to walk in there and talk to her.
Yeah. Chad is asking, why can't you just cast Float the attacker in the CPU? Float is only on your own party. You cannot target enemies with it. So always cast on your entire party in battle. You have to, the only choice if you're trying to use Quake strats on that CPU is to have reflect on someone in your party and cross your fingers for that coin. Hope that the float lands on the attacker.
Just wondering what Obda's going to do once he gets to Zeromus. With Palom gone, there's not that much mage damage. Only Rydia and Fusilea can really do all that much. And I guess Rosa can also cast Light. But only Sid on the physical side. The Zeromus side could be pretty low damage, actually.
He might be hoping for... might be hoping just to find another character. Is nightdew leaving Zot?
Does look like it. I'm not sure why.
Nightdew does have the Earth Crystal, I believe. Unless Did nightdew reset after getting the Earth Crystal? It's not in his inventory.
Maybe he was checking the inventory, and so maybe that was it. I didn't see the Earth Crystal. Okay, it looks like the tracker got updated. So yeah, he probably got the Earth Crystal and took a reset somewhere and forgot that he hadn't saved.
That is quite unfortunate for him, but at this point, you gotta just cut your losses and I think no.
He's going back for it.
I mean,
that puts him in a really rough spot, losing that progress and then going back for it. And you know, our Omnivision lets us know that it's not even going to lead anywhere useful.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to know.
It's gotta be rough for his mental state too. You know, you're like you're doing pretty well on the moon, and then you're following the item, and then you realize you didn't even keep the item anymore.
Yeah.
In that situation,
that hurts.
Pretty bad for nightdew.
I understand going back for it though. I feel like that's your play. You gotta commit to it. But I understand doing either one, honestly. Like, this is my play, I should commit to it, or I goofed up, time to cut my losses and hope that wasn't it. Either one of those makes complete sense.
River is still grinding. He's been there for like almost 10 minutes, I think. And even though these give a lot of experience, it still takes a while. It has to get his mages to level 52 for Palom, 50 for Rydia.
Yeah, he doesn't have 10 key items.
So he's getting regular experience instead of doubled, which you get when you have 10 key items.
These battles do take a while, because you have to cast weak. There's no instant killing these things. You can use Odin on them if you have it, but Odin's fairly low accuracy, and I don't think anyone has it.
So he is leaving Tella dead now that Palom has weak. And that's to keep Tella's agility lower, which is kind of complicated how speed works in this game, but it's kind of all relative to your middle character. So having one character with low agility is often advantageous, especially in the Zeromus fight, which is fairly well studied in that regard.
Yeah, it's the developer's way of keeping battles feeling like they move at roughly the same pace, even as your characters are gaining agility game. But because of the way they coded it with some integer division, a lot of oddity comes out of that. And yeah, the main one that people take advantage of is that having an anchor, we call it, with an agility of a multiple of 14, going to make your party faster to Zeromus.
Those Dusty notes in the chat. Choco does have 10 key items, which means he will get double experience. So he'll grind quite a bit faster.
He's going for eggs.
Not a terrible choice with the double experience. Kill them much faster.
Yeah, so you can kill the eggs very quickly, and you can, and they're just not very dangerous if you don't kill them quickly. So I definitely understand this play. I think grinding the King Rews on the moon would be faster overall, but if you don't know that grind or you're not comfortable with it, there's nothing wrong with popping back down here and smashing some eggs.
So the double experience for Choco is probably not the difference between rivers, but maybe the edge that helps him come in ahead of Obda. Obda's still checking for items, not quite to the crystal yet. He'll probably be there soon. He didn't even get the tower key like the others, so he won't get baited by that option.
Right, and you're always going to go to land of summoners first. That chest is right there.
Yeah, so I imagine he'll do the free checks and then probably head to Dwarf Castle after that.
Or maybe talk to them.
River's almost to the necessary levels. Rudy just learned Nuke. I think he should be good to go now. Yeah, it looks like he's switching up to the equipment, and he's probably going to head down, save, and take on Zeromus.
Alright, good luck, Rivers. This is, yeah, chat's pointing out that Rosa is strong enough to take full power big bangs, even with kind of subpar equipment that Rivers has on. Fight shouldn't be too hard. Doing the reflex strats can be a little bit sketchy because you're going to have one character who you can't heal through normal means. If you don't have Cure 3 potions, then that person kind of has to stay low.
But if he puts the wall on Sid, he should be fine. Sid has pretty high health total. He won't need to heal, probably.
Yeah, Sid can probably take up to 3 big bangs.
With with Palom and Rydia with nukes, and also Rosa there for the whites, I expect this to be a fairly easy fight to get through. Just a lot of damage coming out, and only having to do half of Zeromus' health because of the reflex strats.
Yeah, it's definitely the strategy to go with a party like this. Obdajr Jr. has gotten baited by this Odin battle at the Leviathan spot. It's quite unfortunate for him.
I'm guessing he's kind of thinking he has to make a big play because he went to the moon and it didn't pay off, so he's hoping to take on the tough boss and try to come from behind with that.
And that done hasn't come through yet, so Crystal could still kind of be anywhere from Obdajr's perspective. Rivers has entered our Zeromus fight. Whose butt do we get to kick today?
Choco's actually almost already done grinding. Learned white on Rosa. Rydia will take a bit longer to level. She just has a lot more experience needed.
Yeah, so Rosa at 2200 HP be able to survive most unnerved big bangs. At 2400 HP, she'll be able to survive almost all. So just taking the few seconds to get that couple extra battles can be a good idea. Meanwhile, Zeromus is Team Rocket.
So Rivers does lead with a virus, which triggers a nuke counter, which actually causes the next big bang to be a lot weaker. So that was the main intention of doing the virus. It does a little bit of damage as well. And now we'll see him bouncing nukes and whites off of walls in order to do a ton of damage and avoid the HP refill that happens from direct attacks. So he's being a little bit safe using Cure from Rosa rather than going full damage. Very understandable, and he's got quite the lead over the others, so he should be fine just to play it safer and keep his party healthy and keep the damage coming from the black mages. As long as he's counting damage, you can have Sid attack before he gets up to that critical threshold above 40,000 where the HP will refill.
So, for anyone who's not aware of it, Zeromus, the field that stores HP in this game is limited, so they wanted Zeromus to have much more HP than can actually fit in that field. So Zeromus refills his HP at half health, but that refill is attacks are not triggered in this game by spells reflected off. Yes, Miri in chat, that's correct. 65,535 HP. For Zeromus to have more than that, they either had to expand the HP, which would have taken more space, or do it this way. But they didn't seem to take... Oh gosh, that was...
Yeah. So unnerved Big Bang, taking down everyone but Rosa and Palom. Being that Rosa's still up, he should be able to recover since she is the healer. So I want to get the black mages back up to get the damage coming out again.
By the way, that reflect glitch also very helpful in the elements fight, used in the vanilla No 60 to skip the elements changing into Kanyatso and Valaus. They also refill their HP halfway through.
Alright, mages back alive and wall up on Sid. So now River's going to start bouncing spells again. So he's hoping probably to try to kill before we see another big bang, so he doesn't have to keep mages up. I'm not sure if he's done enough damage yet, though.
Chocosura is headed down.
So Chocosura, just a short 3 or so minute walk down, and then he'll be in the Zeromus fight as well. I mean, River still has to clean this up. If he dies here, it still could be Chocosura's win.
That's right. This is a tense fight.
Yeah, another big bang taking out the mages.
Black Hole taking out the Star Veils.
Probably going to play a little more conservative here and cure up with Rosa. Yeah, unfortunately, the wall's on Rydia. She's not going to get cured.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Yeah, wall expired.
Black hole.
Ooh, and there goes the final nuke. GG Rivers.
GG.
Final time of 1:20:27.
That was very impressive. The lunar core.
And because nightdew did pick up that tower key, he has been lured into the Tower of Babel, which unfortunately for him is not the right option today. Oh, sorry, he's still on the Ruber Conte fight, so he's still getting done there, Graham. Yeah. But he does have the tower key, so he might follow the wrong path.
However, obdajr is in the CPU fight, so Obdajr is on track.
And with Bahamut, CPU should be very easy. Yeah, it just wipes everything out. Alright, and Chocosura has entered Zeromus.
And his party seems to be pretty well suited for blowing through this fight, even just with the standard Berserk strats.
So he does have still Rydia, Palom, and Rosa, so he could opt for the full reflect strats. Boys Kane and Sid, he could also Berserk them up and do damage with them as well.
Right, might do hybrid strats, which I'm a fan of.
Looks like starting with a direct nuke for the nerf and then focusing up to Berserk Kane. So looks like we'll see hybrid strats, both physical and magic damage coming out. So it's usually not quite as fast just because you have to go through the extra HP from the refill when you do this, because the Berserk will almost inevitably trigger that refill. But certainly strong strats and pretty clean for most of the time, having consistent damage from Berserk and extra damage from those nukes.
Yeah, and I'd say these strats are easier to pull off, so... Yeah, it looks like he's doing hybrid. He's going to get a wall up on Sid, cast some spells off of that wall, while Kane pokes away. I've actually skipped the HP refill before. Rivers is treating us in baseball.
Yeah, if you get the nukes lined up, you definitely can get a lucky skip or even time it if you're really slick.
If you only have one person attacking 3 people casting magic, it's that unlikely to happen. Just get 3 spells going off in a row. So we'll see if chocosura gets that luck.
Looks like he has opted to keep Sid unberserked and just using him as his wall target and also tossing some curative items to help out with that.
Yeah, it'll be the emergency heal since he's pretty likely to survive any big bangs.
Good though, playing it safe, throwing the Silk Web with Viridia. If it's timed right, it should nerf the next big bang and also slows down Zeromus, just to give you more time to kill him before he kills you. And looks like we are joined by Rivers. Congrats on your first win in your first match.
Thanks very much, Penguin.
Congratulations, that was a really fun run to watch.
Shake, 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 shake. Agree.
So how do you feel about that Zeromus fight?
Oh man, that was shaky. That was really bad. I really thought that with 14 agility I would have more speed there, but I was lucky enough to be able to improvise it off the bat, kind of.
It looks like you used Tele casting spells as a buffer.
I was trying anything I could, man.
I just thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I'm not going to claim that 28 agility works better, but that's what I usually use for mage strats.
Fair enough.
So, early option was the moon with the darkness crystal or trying to get underground with the hook. Why do you opt for the hook play?
In this specific case, it's because I have the sirens, and with the sirens, I feel like the egg grind is faster and safer and doesn't take as much setup stuff, so I'm much happier to do that grind if I can. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way this time, but what can you do?
Well, we did have 2 runners get seriously sidetracked by the moon. They both went up there, did their grinds there, took on some bosses, chased some key items down the wrong hole, so it looks like you made the right call.
I think I hate to say this because I know it's like giving away too much strategy or whatever, but like I feel like if you go to the moon and you don't succeed, it's like a total Hail Mary and you're destined to lose if you go to moon first. So like every time I've been doing these races, I've been like, okay, man, let's calm it down. We got moon access, that's great, but we can do some other things too.
It's one of the most difficult calls in the game, I think, especially with these flags.
I feel like you either do it and you win by 20 minutes or you do it and you lose by 20 minutes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised that I won by so much because that was a really shaky beginning of the run. A lot of resets. I don't know. I couldn't see everybody else, obviously, but that was really problematic for me, the speed of Tela and Sid trying to get past Wyvern.
Yeah, it looks like I think everyone had about the same troubles with Wyvern and also Octomom at Baron Inn.
Yeah.
And then Antlion caused a few people some trouble, person even.
The Antlion thing would have been easy if you just got the start of the Moonveil off the first time, but he like bopped Palom as he got it off, and that's just that thing where like with the J items it like triggers them and uses them out of your inventory already, so I had to reset that one time.
Yeah.
I think some of the other runners
frustrating
took their
behavior.
Moonveils elsewhere, so they didn't have that left for Antlion.
I see. So how is everybody else doing right now? I haven't looked at the race at all.
Choco is in the Zeromus fight. Obda is just about to enter, so it's going to be pretty close between them. Nightdew's getting baited by the tower key right now.
But Obda and nightdew both found the pass, so Obda managed to just
Oh, nice.
be
Nice.
right here when he's done his grind.
Yeah,
Well, I'm gonna hop out of the chat. I really like when you guys are focusing on the actual run set of the interview. But thanks so much, and can't wait for my next race, which will be I think in a week. So.
All right, we're looking forward to it. Thanks for the interview.
Everybody keep
Thank
watching.
you, again.
Keep watching the Zeromus Zone, baby.
All right, so chocosura still fighting Zeromus. Should be getting pretty close to the end here. Obda just starting, and we'll see what he can pull out here. It's a little bit less straightforward for him, still having Tella in the party.
Yeah, I'm still confused about why he kept Tella. I really want to ask him. Oh, chocosura has done it. GG.
GG chocosura, official time of 1:29:13.
That was very well played. So I believe this is chocosura's second match. Yeah, this is chocosura's second match and his second place. So he's doing pretty well so far. Trying to get him in for
So Obda's Rudy is a little underleveled. He doesn't have nuke yet. So it looks like we're seeing some Lit 3 reflect strats. Bit unique, and Tell also getting in on the action with the Ice 3.
Only 500. I don't think I've ever tried to use a level 3 elemental spell with Tella Zeromus.
Alright, and we are joined by chocosura, GG, and congrats on finishing second.
GG, thank you.
That was a really great play. Fun to watch.
Yeah, I did forget, and I just realized when I saw videos nukes doing 3,000. I did forget to take that here one shot off of her.
Oh yeah, that's always rough when you forget that one.
I was wondering why is her damage so low, and then I just remembered. Oh well.
Yeah, and it also takes tanks for magic defense.
Yeah.
But you know, you made it
It
through.
worked out overall though.
You've gotten second place. I believe this was your second race.
Yeah. Second
So-
race, second place.
So that puts you at 6 points total. Pretty good position halfway through.
Yeah.
So we had a couple of runners get baited by the moon. You pretty much went down. I'm trying to remember exactly your route. So you went up and got Rosa.
Yeah, I went and got Rosa early on. She was on the moon, wasn't she?
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
she was
was
on the moon.
in Fusora's spot.
Yeah. I don't know. I just decided just to check up there just to see if I could get rid of Teller.
Yeah, I think most of the runner, really everyone actually did pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
Checked on Rosa, then did some grinding.
But Teller actually did some work for me with that Stardust rod in a few of the boss fights. I had to admit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Stardust sure came in handy.
Yeah, it did.
Is there anything you think you would have done differently if you had a chance to do it again in this race?
I probably would have. I'm not sure really. To be honest.
A pretty clean run from what I saw, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty clean. One of my better runs, I would say.
So once again, We didn't get to see anyone take the twin harp bait either.
I was thinking about it, but then again, me and Cave Magnus, they don't get along. So
Yeah.
usually I'm fearing gold bears in that spot. But I saw gold bears when I got down to the lower Babel. I saw gold bears. So okay, I figured I might as well get it over with. You know, see what the tower holds.
Right, that was because everyone pretty much went down with the tower key.
Yeah.
So it looks like nightdew is entering the CPU fight. So nightdew is about to fight Miss Dragon and hopefully find the crystal.
All right, any final thoughts from you, chocosura?
I'm kind of slightly annoyed that my float, when I reflected it, hit the CPU instead of the attacker.
Yeah,
It's kind of slowed me down a little bit, but
it's a
yeah,
coin
it's
toss.
on that, so it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
I would have ended that
It
fight faster if that float hit that attacker, but yeah.
All right, well, thanks for the interview, and GG again.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
congratulations.
GG. Thank you.
All right, and looks like Obda is hoping to wrap up his fight. Looks like he took a accidental nuke on his Rydia from Fusoya, so the wall fell off at just the wrong moment.
Yeah, so now he's doing just 2 people. Berserk 1, other for healing, no nerfing. These strats are reliable if slow. If you're at higher levels, if Rosa can eat a full power Big Bang reliably. At Oba's levels, they're over at media.
Yeah,
so it's
so media phase means just a little bit of HP left, no more than 10,000, I think. So a few more hits, although Sid only doing 2,000 per hit. We'll probably see another meteor or 2. But we should be able to get through here.
Yeah, Sid is honestly one of the worst attackers to do this strat with, but at this point, trying to get anyone else back up to do any damage is a fool's errand.
Alright, there's the final hit. GG to Obda with a final time of 1:35.46.
GG. Obda takes third, gets 2 points. And probably gonna head off Rudy's mother.
Alright, so get Obda in here in just a second. Alright, and GG Obda.
Hey. How's it going?
So any initial thoughts from you? I think we have a few questions.
Well, I kept getting walled everywhere, and then other than getting experience. And it's a tough seed.
Yeah, Moon Gamble definitely didn't quite work out. If at first, but didn't quite pan out that way this time.
No.
That's kind of how Moon Gamble goes.
So we were curious why you chose to keep Tella. I think when you picked up Fusoya, I think you dropped Palom instead.
I meant to drop Rydia, and I just chose the wrong black mage, but I wanted Tella because I had a cursed ring. I was going to stick him in the center just like I did.
Okay, so it was for agility. Someone in chat suggested it.
Yeah.
But
So were you planning on hybrid strats then for Zeromus with Sid doing damage and also spells casted?
Yeah. I was hoping to skip that last Big Bang, but didn't get quite enough damage. And plus his one of, I think it was the third Big Bang, Hyrold's Fusoya, and he also just nuked Rydia for, I think it just missed the last wall. There.
He was a bit shy of nuke. Was that on purpose, or did you not quite level enough?
Oh, I think she was quite far back from Nuke.
Okay, so I just
I
didn't want
wasn't
to
there.
bother grinding that much.
No. No,
Well,
I got the
looks like
crystal.
that
And,
paid off.
yeah, Rosa had an adamant armor to wear and 2200 HP, so I'm not going to do any more grinding after that.
Makes sense.
So you took, if I remember correctly, you tried to dive the underground, ran into Antlion, and then decided to do Moon instead. Is that right?
Yeah, I would have tried to fight in line a couple times, but he literally attacked me 4 times before I got a move, so
Yeah.
I was just like, well, this isn't going to work out.
That King Queen Evelyn spot, it
Yeah.
hurts.
Yeah,
You
when
get
there's
a
an
physical
actual
loss
boss.
there.
I was afraid that because on the moon I tried the Ogobogo and the Eldim spots, and they were both bosses that I just got wrecked by, and I was like, oh god, if the crystal's there, I'm just absolutely screwed.
A whole lot of things can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think nightdew did stick it out and clear everything on the moon. Didn't really find anything though.
Yeah.
If I remember right, the only progression item was the Earth Crystal.
Yeah. As soon as I got back online, I was like, okay, well, if this Earth Crystal is not anything, then I'm just I'm gonna be behind, and it turns out I was. So
Well, do you have any further thoughts about that scene?
no, it was a fun one.
Yeah.
It was, Wyvern walled you early, and I couldn't get underground with the easy boss. You had this option of doing a very hard underground dive or a very hard moon dive, or try to fight Wyvern somehow, and none of those were good options.
Yeah, the sea was kind of wide open and super closed at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, you played well. We enjoyed watching it. So thanks for coming in. I think we're going to watch nightdew wrap it up. He's working on his grind now.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Have a good night. So nightdew, of course, is coming in fourth here, but he has 2 adamant armors, Kane with an Avenger, and is fairly over level at this point. He is going to stomp Zeromus into the ground.
So if he's watching the SRL chat, he might just be loading up a little bit extra, just going to play it safe, make sure he gets the kill on the first try. Doesn't really need to bother with Riddy at this point. I think Sid and Kane can do all the damage. You've got 2 adamants.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, start the fight, let Kane do whatever. Wait, heal occasionally.
Yeah, so he did pick up the pass, so he's headed to Zeromus directly. And it looks like we're around level 50 for his characters. And just doing one final quick menu. And, hopping into the castle? Oh, missed up, I think.
Yeah, I do that all the time. Thank you, OPT Lawyer and chat, for those commands. Yes, please follow these runners. These are all fantastic runners. I think you can see that from this race we just watched. Rivers, as we said earlier, is the one who set this league up and is doing the administration of it. And you can just see everyone else has performed spectacularly tonight. They all deserve a follow.
Absolutely, and any of these runners could have won. It was kind of the gamble: do I go to the moon or the underground? That kind of decided this one. So definitely, all of these runners performed very well given how things played out. All right, so nightdew starting up the fight here. So I imagine we'll see Berserk on Kane and Sid. The Avenger will auto Berserk Kane. And might see some spills out of Fusilea and Rosa.
Yeah, so starting the fight with the Avenger can be a little risky because it's an extremely buggy weapon. Occasionally, if Kane goes immediately after the person who uses the crystal, he'll actually mimic using the crystal instead of attacking. I don't think Nightdew's going to run into that problem. It's a tricky weapon to use. Once you do get this fight going, an Avenger Kane can win it single-handedly. Quite literally. Someone, I believe Invenerable, has a video Kane swapping Draining Spear for an Avenger and then winning the fight single-handedly with Kane.
So we did get lucky. No nasty Avenger glitches this time. And just berserking up and casting slow with Rosa just to buy a bit more time between the actions of Zeromus to do more damage. Can heal up pretty easily with Rosa and Fusilea.
Yeah. Nightdew's not in a position where he needs the Big Bang damage nerf, so I'd say that slow is just to get a few extra turns. He'll be able to eat anything Zeromus throws at him.
Playing it safe, using Cure 4 to heal up after that Big Bang. But then Rosa's putting up a wall, so it looks like we'll see some reflect strats coming up.
Right. With Kane and the Avenger, you're pretty unlikely to skip the HP refill. But, you know, damage is damage.
Alright, so getting nukes out of Rydia and Fusilea, gonna pump out a lot of damage alongside those berserks. So at this point, Nightdew's pretty well set up. Not a lot can go wrong at this point. Should see a pretty clean finish from here on out.
Yeah, kind of the only thing that can happen now is a Big Bang lined up before the shift into Medio phase. I have seen Big Bang directly into Medio kill even very strong parties.
Even then, with the Adamants on, Medio's probably going to miss at least one of his characters.
Yeah, it's pretty unlikely. Doing a direct nuke, so Nightdew is going for the Big Bang nerfs. Probably hoping that the nuke will reflect off of Sid.
Yeah, just playing it safe, getting those Big Bangs nerfed. Rydia's down. He might not even bother bringing her back.
Right.
Let Sid and Kane finish it.
Sid is doing an insane amount of damage.
Guess he has the power shirt from before and
That's
some
what
kind
it
of
is.
axe.
Yeah.
Ooh, when we get a nice exit cast from Rosa.
Oops. Yeah, exit's a very annoying spell. Select it, get a chance to deconfirm your selection.
And yeah, for those not aware, exit does not actually do anything in the battle. So that was probably a misclick or maybe just having a little fun. Because we're using direct damage with Berserk, we have a total of about 120,000 damage to get through. A little bit less depending on when it refills.
Yeah, it tends to go by a lot faster than you think. So here's why the Avenger is so great. Black Hole causes Berserk to wear off of Sid. It does not wear off of Kane. See what I said about it going by so fast? Medio phase, we're in the last 10k HP. It's done.
So just a few more hits and Zeromus should go down.
Oh, it's so annoying when it gets multiple medias, though.
Yeah, the Meteos do seem to come out faster than other spells, but they're not the most dangerous most of the time.
Yeah. The Avenger can also be a little glitchy after Black Hole sometimes. Sometimes Kane or whoever has it equipped might lock up until their natural turn comes up, so you might have to parry around to them. Yeah, it looks like that's what happened. Yeah, yep, that's it. GG nightdew.
Alright, so nightdew finishes with a time of 1:48.26. And we'll get him in for a chat in just a second.
Do a quick interview. It was a really interesting seed. Nightdew, GG.
GG guys.
So, how are you feeling about that seed?
It's the worst feeling in the world when you take that moon gamble and the first dot done happens when you're on the ruby slot. I mean, I could just roll over everything, but I just saw like I had it and I decided to go for it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, it really is frustrating. That's, I guess, what makes K2 so much more interesting than K1. Those big gambles can pay off or hurt a lot.
So how about that exit cast in Zeromus?
I'm known for a few misclicks here, and I was going for more bounce, and
it really is.
Yeah, sometimes I hit it, sometimes I don't. I think I threw like a life on somebody alive in the wyvern fight too.
Well, I certainly enjoyed the exit.
So I think you played very well. Obviously the moon gamble didn't work out for you, but blazed through most of the moon bosses, and the ones that you couldn't take, you were able to take pretty shortly after, right?
Yeah, the one thing I must have, and I do not remember, and when I hit the resets, I'm guessing what was in Plague Spot, is that apparently I had not saved, even though I thought I did, to the Deluder spot. So I went down to Earth, and I'm looking there, and I get to Golbez up at Zot, and he's like, "Hey, you need an Earth Crystal, bud?" And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean? I've got an Earth Crystal here." And so I look there, and I'm like, "Well, what's going on? There's no Earth Crystal. There's no spoon." I'm like, "Oh, no." In, less SRL friendly terms, but yeah, that was definitely a thing.
We didn't catch either the reset loss of the Earth Crystal.
Yeah, we just saw you looking around in your inventory, and we kind of figured it out, and felt really bad for you. That's got to be rough.
Yeah, and at that point we knew where the crystal was. So we
were hoping you would just cut your losses and go underground.
I was thinking about it, but I hadn't seen a dot done yet, and I know Rivers is quite fast. So I'm thinking, okay, let's just hope beyond hope that either A, they're dragon hunting, or B, that this Earth Crystal does have the rabbit hole that does have the crystal, and in the end it did not pay off, but yeah, it's rando go to rando.
Yep, that's right. I think that's important to remember. Every one of these races, even if you don't win, it's a randomizer. You can't win them all. But like I said, I think you played very, very well. So,
yeah, I got no problems with my play there. It just makes that last race all the more important here. I'm glad I put myself in a position where I could absorb one of these. So, yeah, I mean, I went down today. Megas went down today. I mean, it's a day to topple the giants here. I mean, Rivers should have went down too, maybe, but okay, maybe not. But
nice humble drag there.
Yeah.
It's true though. You're great at this game.
Yeah, you're absolutely an excellent runner.
So we're looking forward to your last race.
Yeah, good luck to you on that one.
I've got a week to think about this, all the way to the 19th, and I believe Penguinator. Who else? I know I've got that sheet up. Yeah, that's right there. We got the 19th against Big Dunka, Great White Hope, and Penguinator.
It's gonna be a great race.
Yes, it is.
Looking forward to it.
Do you have any further thoughts?
No, you pretty much saw it all. I'm sure I'll have time to stew. Okay, I'm not that angry. I believe I did play fairly well, at least in terms of the whole. Let's just you know, we went to the moon, we committed to the moon. It was not the right play. We'll get it again next week.
Yeah.
Looking forward to
Oh
it.
well. Do you have any further thoughts? All right, I think we're gonna sign off then.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you, nightdew. All right, and a big thank you to Randomania for hosting us, and thanks to our restreamer OPT Lawyer and our tracker Golden Hades, and of course my co-commentator Swimmy. You're all great people.
And thank you, chat, for watching. We're gonna sign off then, and we'll see you all next time.
All right, thanks. And next time is actually right now because there's another race going on RPG Limit Break.
All right, let's head over there.